What's this? A letter for me.
Welcome to another episode of Remember the Great Sports Through the Mail Thursdays. Today I'm going to open 3 envelopes and I'm going to profile each of the players that I pull out of those envelopes, and we're just going to jump right into this and get started. Alright, this first one is from former Chicago Cub / Chicago White Sox outfielder / pitcher Danny Murphy on 1, 2, a 61 and a 62 tops, another 62 tops, and probably the most beat up 1961 tops you will ever see, because the whole bottom half of the card's missing. But despite his name completely missing from the card, I decided to send it to him anyway, and he signed it. So I'm going to tell you a little about Danny Murphy. And this set with Chicago Cubs, the 61 tops, you had a Ron Santo and a Billy Williams rookie card. So this is another rookie in that 61 tops, and you're going to be amazed what I tell you about Danny Murphy. Alright, so here's the cool thing about Danny Murphy. Murphy was a bonus baby. Murphy signed with the Chicago Cubs for $100,000 as an outfielder on June 15th, 1960, following his high school graduation. 3 days later, he made his professional major league debut playing center field for the Chicago Cubs at Cincinnati at Crosley Field. So this young man, at 18 years old, was drafted, or not drafted, but signed on June 15th, and 3 days later, he made his pro debut. That's crazy. That's unheard of. Didn't play a game in the minor leagues and went straight to the major league roster. So, what happened? Why do we not all know Danny Murphy is the question. He went hitless in his first 4 at-bats against Jay Hook, but the following day he took over from the Chicago Cubs regular center fielder Richie Ashburn late in the game and collected his first MLB hit, a single against left-handed reliever Bill Henry. He became the youngest Cub to hit a home run at the age of 18 years old 3 weeks when he connected on September 13th, 1960, off of the Reds' Bob Perkey. However, Murphy would collect only 23 total hits in his 49 games played during his Cub career, batting only .171 during that tenure. He was traded to the Houston Colt 45s during spring training in 1963. After being traded to the Colt 45s, Murphy disappeared into the minor leagues for the next 6 full seasons, converting to a pitcher in 1966 at the AA level for the Chicago White Sox. After promising campaigns in the Southern and Pacific Coast Leagues, the White Sox recalled Murphy in August of 1969, and he debuted as a relief pitcher against the Boston Red Sox at Comiskey on August 11th. He had a successful 2-month period coming out of the White Sox bullpen, compiling a .201 ERA with 4 saves. Murphy then spent the entire 1970 campaign with the White Sox with markedly less impressive results. His ERA rose to almost 6, and he yielded 82 hits in 80 2/3 innings. Although he did connect for his 4th and final career home run off of Bill Zepp that year against the Minnesota Twins. All told, after his entire career as a pitcher, in 68 games played in 112 innings, he gave up 100 hits, 59 base on balls, 58 strikeouts, and had 9 saves as a major leaguer. The following spring, Murphy was traded to his hometown Boston Red Sox. He spent the 1971 season at Boston's AAA affiliate before leaving baseball after 12 professional seasons. So it's amazing that this individual was such a highly touted high school prospect that he signed a pro contract and 3 days later was patrolling center field for the Chicago Cubs. That's amazing. Obviously, he didn't have success as the Cubs had hoped at the plate, and they more or less gave up on him, but he was able to reemerge and spend years in the minors to develop his craft to get back to the major leagues as a pitcher. That's an amazing thing that only a few have done. There's a few that have done that, in the recent times, but commonly you don't know a lot of players that start out in the majors then go become pitchers. Usually it's in the minor leagues that they convert them to pitchers. Rick Ankiel comes to mind. He did the opposite, actually. He was a pitcher that converted to an outfielder. But you don't hear about a lot of people that make their major league debut then turn into a pitcher. It's just very rare that it happens at the major league level. Then they make the change. But, this guy did it. He was successful. And that's a pretty cool story, if you ask me. So we'll move on to the next one. All right, so this next one is postmarked from Florida, and it is former Detroit Tiger great Jake Wood on that same 61 Topps, 1. And this is a 67 Topps, 2. And this one I really like, the 62 with Boros and Sheffing, is 3. And he actually signed a second 61 Topps, but as you can see, it got smeared, probably put back in the package. However, turning over the card, like that Danny Murphy card, it's quite beat to hell anyway. So I guess if one were to get smeared, that would be the one that I wanted to get smeared. So I would call that a 3.5 out of 4 success. These things happen when things get smudged. It's just part of the game, but I'd rather have that one smudged than the other 3. So let me tell you a little about Jake Wood. Jake Wood appeared in over 608 games over a 7-year career, playing with the Detroit Tigers from 61-67 and also the Cincinnati Reds, primarily as a second baseman. The New Jersey native played his high school baseball in New Jersey and then was awarded a scholarship to attend Delaware State University in Dover, Delaware, where he played 1 season of college baseball. Wood was signed as an amateur free agent by the Tigers in early 1957. He attended Detroit's minor league camp in Lakeland, Florida, working his way up through the Tigers system and batted more than 300 with 5 teams in the minors. Jake made his major league debut at age 23 on the Tigers season opener on April 11, 1961, starting at second base, batting leadoff, in a 9-5 home loss against the Indians. Facing Indians pitcher Jim Perry for the 4th time in the game during the 7th inning, the hard-hitting Wood collected his first career hit in a big way with a 2-run home run. Quite agile and talented, Wood remained the Tigers' starting second baseman from 1961 to 63. In 1961, he was 3rd in the American League in stolen bases. 1962, he had 24, and in 1963, he had 18. During his rookie season in 61, Wood also was among the American League leaders in runs, hits, and games at 162. He led the American League in triples in 1961, but he also led the league in strikeouts, which was a record for the most strikeouts in a season at the time at 141. 141 is nothing by today's standards. That's a month for some players. Wood injured a finger late in July 1963 and missed the rest of the season. Starting in 1964, after Detroit acquired veteran second baseman Jerry Lumpy, Wood was a utility infielder and backup second baseman. He remained a reserve for the rest of his career from then on. On June 23, 1967, during his 7th season with the Tigers, his contract was purchased by the Reds, for whom he played 16 games, with his final major league career appearance coming on August 11, 1967. Jake ended his major league career with a .250 batting average with 35 home runs, 168 RBIs, and 70 stolen bases. His brother Richard Wood played professional football from 1975 to 84 with the Jets and the Buccaneers. I'm going to have to go through some of those vintage football cards and see if I have any Richard Wood cards. That'd be really neat to see if I could get both of them to sign, assuming Richard's still around. Jake lives in Pensacola, Florida, which is actually where this is postmarked from, where he has continued to remain active, playing in over 70 softball leagues. He also helps mentor inmates at Escambia County Jail as a Will of the Way ministry and participates in many Tigers reunions, autograph shows, and fantasy camps, as well as Negro League events. Wood is also a member of the Union County, New Jersey Baseball Hall of Fame. So, thank you very much, Mr. Wood. I really appreciate having the opportunity to get your autograph, as I've never gotten it before. Fortunately, that one got a little messed up, but it happens. All right, moving on to the last one. This is postmarked from St. Louis. And I am extremely happy to get this one back, as this is the first one that I've ever gotten from this individual. And that is former Los Angeles Angel, Houston Colt 45, Lee Thomas, also Boston Red Sox, also the former general manager of the Philadelphia Phillies. And in addition to the 4 that he signed for me, he also included a postcard. So very cool to get this freebie postcard from Mr. Thomas. So let me tell you a little about Mr. Thomas. Lee Thomas is a hard-hitting outfielder first baseman from Peoria, Illinois. He originally was playing for the New York Yankees organization from 1954 to 61, but Thomas just could not break into the Yankees all-star lineup. He did, however, make his major league debut with the Yankees in 1961, but shortly after making that debut, he was traded to the then expansion Los Angeles Angels. As an everyday player at the Angels and Boston Red Sox from 61 to 65, Thomas topped the 20 home run mark 3 times and drove in 104 RBIs for the Angels in 62. On September 5th, 1961, Thomas collected 9 hits and 11 at-bats in a doubleheader against the Kansas City A's, hitting 3 home runs and driving in 8 runs in the nightcap. It's not a bad day of work at a doubleheader. He became one of 8 players with 9 hits in the Twin Bill. He was selected to the 1962 American League All-Star team and popped out as a pinch hitter in that year's first All-Star game. In the year's second All-Star game, played on July 30th at Wrigley Field, he appeared as a defensive replacement in left field for the game's final 2 innings, but did not bat. The latter 3 years of Thomas's major league playing career, 66 to 68, were spent in the National League as a part-time player and pinch hitter with the Atlanta Braves, Chicago Cubs, and Houston Astros. Excuse me, I called them the Colt 45s, but it was the Astros at that point. He compiled a career batting average of .255 in 1,027 games with 847 hits, 106 home runs. After his big league career, he played 1 season in Japan for the 1969 Nankai Hawks. Hopefully I said that right. After the 69 season in 1970, Thomas joined the St. Louis Cardinals as a bullpen coach. In 1972, he became manager of the GCL Redbirds in the rookie-level Gulf Coast League. Then, in 1973, Thomas moved up to Class A as skipper of the Modesto Reds of the California League. Thomas moved into the Cardinals front office in 1975, becoming traveling secretary and rising to the position of director of player development in 1980. He was a key member of the St. Louis organization during the club's run for success during the early to mid-'80s, when the Cardinals, led by manager Whitey Herzog, won NL pennants in 82, 85, and 87, and the 82 World Series. In 1988, Thomas was lured to Philadelphia to take command of the Phillies as general manager. He had acquired players such as Curt Schilling, Lenny Dykstra, and Mitch Williams, who played critical roles in the Phil's 93 pennant-winning team, which lost to the 93 World Series to the Toronto Blue Jays. That same year, the Sporting News and Boston chapter of the Baseball Writers Association both named him Executive of the Year for all of Major League Baseball. When 4 straight losing seasons followed the 93 pennant, Thomas was replaced as GM by Ed Wade, his assistant. He then returned to the Red Sox as a special assistant to the general manager from 1998 to 2003, where he played a key role in Boston's signing of free agent outfielders Manny Ramirez and Johnny Damon. He then served with the Astros and the Milwaukee Brewers as a pro scout, and on December 4th, 2011, he joined the Baltimore Orioles as a special assistant to Executive Vice President Dan Duquette, with whom he worked in Boston previously. He held that position with Baltimore through the 2018 season. I am assuming now, after 2018, he is finally retired. He is 84 years old, so I guess that's not a bad career in baseball. Basically, playing in the minor leagues in the mid-50s, working all the way through 2018. I mean, that's pretty amazing. But most notably, as the GM that built the Philadelphia Phillies teams in the early 90s, that's what he most is well known for. So I highly recommend, if you have an opportunity to send a couple cards to Mr. Thomas, if you have any lying around, definitely consider doing so. I want to thank you for joining me for another episode. I hope you learned a little bit today about Mr. Jake Wood, as well as Mr. Danny Murphy, one of the first two-way players. Well, I don't want to say one of the first. Babe Ruth obviously was kind of good, and Joe Wood, I want to say, as well. Those guys were both pretty good at the two-way playing, so thanks for joining me, and I look forward to your comments below. Thanks.